Call our meeting to order at 6 p.m. And Pastor T, if you would start us off with the invocation this evening.
Mayor, if I could, I just want to make a statement of privilege. I would like to thank all of you who have prayed for Melinda, been going through the challenges with her health over the last couple of months especially. And just want to thank you for your love and support and outreach to our family. She got a great report from the doctor on Thursday, and we are most grateful. And just want you to know that we love all of you and are grateful that you have reached out to us in the way that you have through this very special time through which we're passing. Her rehab is going great, should be home in a couple of weeks, and we're most grateful to all of you and to God. Let's pray. Lord, we love you tonight. We thank you for your watch, care, and protection over our life. I thank you for this city. I thank you for all of its people. I thank you for the purpose for which we are gathered here tonight. That is to take care of the business of our city. And Lord, we ask that you give us direction and guidance as we do what we do. Again, we thank you for the first responders and those who give of their time and their talent for the benefit of so many others day to day. We ask that you protect them. And we just praise you for these moments. Help us to be successful in what we do, expeditious in taking care of the matters of the city, and we will give you praise and thanks. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we get to start our meeting off this evening on an awesome positive note. And we've got Dr. Kuhn joining us tonight, as well as Natalie Griffin, who has received a very prestigious award. So if you will come up to the front, and as a city, we just wanted to partner with the school district and bragging about this accomplishment. A lot of us are tied. Well, we're all tied to education in one way or the other, but we're different functions in the city, but we're just not one without the other. So I'm going to give you the floor, and you'll take it from here.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Good evening, members of City Council and city officials and guests. It's my distinct pleasure tonight to get to brag on Ms. Natalie Griffin, who is a stellar administrator in the Mineral Wells Independent School District. She has been awarded the State Administrator of the Year award from the Texas Association of School Libraries. And I'm very proud of her, and let's give her a big round of applause. If I can, I'd like to take just a few minutes to tell you a little bit about her and her role in Mineral Wells Independent School District. I can't think of a more deserving person for this award, Administrator of the Year. Natalie loves the children of Mineral Wells Independent School District, and she loves our school district. Natalie has served in Mineral Wells ISD for a lot of years. She served in multiple capacities, including instructional coach, principal of Travis Elementary for several years, and most recently as the executive director of special programs. And what that means, what she does on a daily basis, is just incredible. She wears so many hats. All the federal grants that we receive come through her. She fills out the applications. She makes sure that we comply with all the requirements, and federal grants have lots of requirements. And then in addition to that, that's just one special program. She also is over our bilingual program, our gifted and talented program, our dyslexia program, and a number of other special programs that help groups of students. Does a phenomenal job. We're here tonight to talk about her role as an advocate and a supporter of school libraries. And I want to go back in time to I don't know the year, but I was principal at Mineral Wells High School, and I had a phenomenal English teacher named Kathy Hammond. And Natalie was principal at Travis Elementary, and she stole Kathy Hammond from me and made her the librarian at Travis. And I was really mad at the time because Miss Hammond was a fantastic English teacher. Well, Miss Hammond is also a fantastic librarian. And that move right there, many years ago, set in motion a chain of events that has transformed the libraries in our school system. And our libraries are no longer the old libraries where students go and check out books. That's not what a library is anymore. Today, a library is a hub of learning, hands-on learning, maker spaces where students can go and program robots, they can go and do research, they can go and access the internet. Our librarians are innovators, they are learning leaders in our school district, and that is from kindergarten, pre-K, all the way up to 12th grade. That all started because of this lady right here. And she was recognized for that this year because our librarians nominated her for this award. And I want to make sure you understand there are over 1,000 school districts in the state of Texas. Little Mineral Wells, Texas, we have 5 libraries, right? Fort Worth ISD, Dallas ISD, you can imagine how many librarians they have. All of these librarians had the opportunity to nominate an administrator. And all those administrators that were nominated got discussed. And the application that was submitted on behalf of Miss Natalie Griffin by our librarians rose to the top. And out of every administrator in the state of Texas, myself included, this is your state administrator of the year. So I could not be more proud of how she represents this town, how she represents our school district, but most of all, how much she cares about learning for our students, because that is their future, and it starts in our libraries. And what we are, we owe a lot to Natalie Griffin. So thank you very much, Natalie.
Thank you very much. I did write some notes. I can say without hesitation that it has been an easy task to support the library staff of Mineral Wells ISD. With the leadership of our head librarian, Kathy Hammond, our librarians have rallied for funding to build libraries full of books that provide students access to diverse reads, integration of technology, hands-on learning through Makerspace, and created a summer bookmobile program for our students. In their free time, they spend countless hours traveling the town in the bookmobile, putting books in the hands of kids. They participate in various public events, talking about authors and great stories to our students. As you can see, the librarians of Mineral Wells ISD have made it easy for me to support and commit funds because, as stated by Judy Bloom, our librarians save the lives by handing a book to each student at the right time to the kid in need. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for that information, and I always love starting off on a positive note, and that was a good one. All right. Item number 1, consent agenda. Discussion or questions from the council?
Excuse me, Mayor, I just want to announce we have no.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Betty. If there's no questions or discussion, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 2, conduct a public hearing, then consider and take appropriate action on a request for a rezone of approximately 0.23 acres of land located in the northwest corner of the northeast quarter section of number 46, Block A, EOB, T, and PRR County Survey, J.W. Dillander Survey, abstract number 1577, Palapenna County, Texas, from single family 9 single family to C, commercial. Any person wishing to speak via Zoom in regards to this public hearing must either use the raised hand button if using a computer or by dialing *9 if calling in at the portion of the meeting when the mayor opens the public hearing. If it's okay, I'll proceed to open up the public hearing, and while we're waiting for public comment, let you kick it off. We open the public hearing at 6:10.
Absolutely. Just, I'm sure you guys have all had a chance to look at your packet. This is a little triangle of property that was kind of in between the Valley View Estates plat and the commercial property to the south that Mr. Tincher has requested be rezoned to commercial, so that it will conform more with a tract of land that I believe that he's about. You're going to see a plat for that property here in just a few minutes. P and Z met, considered the item, unanimously recommended approval of the zoning request as presented.
Jennifer, do we have any call-ins or raised hands? No. Mayor, we have no call-ins or raised hands.
Is there anyone present that wishes to speak on this item? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 6:11. Council?
No questions over here. It looks like it makes perfect sense to me to do that.
I move we approve the replat request as presented.
Rezone.
Rezone, sorry. Rezone.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Agenda item number 3, conduct a public hearing, then consider and take appropriate action on a preliminary plat of an 8.402 acre tract of land out of the northeast quarter section of number 46, J.W. Dillinger Survey, abstract number 1577, and section number 39, abstract number 718, both in T and PRR County Survey, Block A, EOB, Palapena County, Texas, to Lot 1, Block 1 of the Valley View Estates, Phase 2 addition to the city of Mineral Wells, Palapena County, Texas. Any person wishing to speak via Zoom in regards to this public hearing must either use the raise the hand button if using the computer or by dialing *9 if calling in at the portion of the meeting when the mayor opens the public hearing. Open this public hearing at 6:13.
Mayor, I'm sure you guys recognize that little triangle because it's at the top of something bigger. This is Valley View Estates Phase 2 preliminary plat that the Planning and Zoning Commission also considered last week and recommended its unanimous approval.
Jennifer, do we have any raised hands or call-ins? Mayor, we have no raised hands or call-ins.
Do you have anyone present that would like to speak?
I'll make a motion that we
Or,
approve the
well,
plan.
hang on, let me wait for Andy to see where you want it. We'll close the public hearing at 6:13. Any discussion from the council?
Makes sense to me.
Glenn, go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve this plan.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 4, conduct a public hearing, then consider and take appropriate action on a replat of Lot 1, Block 1 of the Bronco Plaza addition to the city of Mineral Wells, Parker County, Texas, and Lot 1, Block 1 of the Mineral Wells Hotel Group's addition to the city of Mineral Wells, Parker County, Texas, to Lot 1, Block 1 of the Stewart addition to the city of Mineral Wells, Parker County, Texas. Any person wishing to speak via Zoom in regards to this public hearing must either use the raise hand button if using the computer or by dialing *9 if calling in at the portion of the meeting when the mayor opens the public hearing. Open this public hearing at 6:14.
Mayor, just as a little bit of background, I'd refer the council to page 35 in your packet. It actually shows this property in an aerial photograph if you have trouble identifying the location. This is really just kind of a housekeeping issue that there's going to be, we believe, a car wash constructed on those properties, and that can't occur on 2 lots. So it's really just combining 2 existing lots into a single lot. And the P and Z has also considered this item and recommended its approval as well.
Jennifer, do we have any raised hands or call-ins?
No.
Mayor, we have no raised hands or call-ins.
Okay, do we have anyone present that would like to speak?
Where is it?
It
It's
is,
basically across from
Across from Thomas.
kind of Woody's, diagonal from Woody's across the street. Down there, there used to be like a,
Was it a rental place?
where like a trailer house or trailer home sales place used to be years ago.
Yes.
So kind of in front of where that lake is,
Oh, okay.
South side of 180.
And what's going in there?
It'll be a car wash.
Oh, okay.
Isn't it located right across from Thomas?
Yeah, and I think that's Woody's. Is that Tommy's or Woody's?
Somewhere right in that area, there's two open lots there across from Tommy's and Woody's on the south side of
Okay.
180.
Okay.
That's where it is.
anyone else?
yeah.
There's no one else, we will close the public hearing at 6:16. Discussion from the council?
It's good. I make a motion to approve the plat.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Conduct a public hearing, then consider and take appropriate action on a specific use permit in order to construct a dwelling, guest house in a single-family zone district located at 1102 Northwest 6th Avenue, being Lot 9 and SCPT of 10-11, Block 8 of the SMBW addition to the city of Mineral Wells, Palapenna County, Texas. Any person wishing to speak via Zoom in regards to this public hearing must either use the raise the hand button if using the computer or by dialing *9 if calling in at the portion of the meeting when the mayor opens the public hearing. This public hearing at 6:17.
Just as a bit of background, this is a request from Margaret Terry, who lives at the address noted there, 1102 Northwest 6th Avenue. She wants to construct a guest house, basically wants to build some living quarters on top of an existing garage. And eventually, the presentation to the P and Z was that eventually that would connect to the existing house. But under the circumstances, as you know, there can only be a single living, a single dwelling, a single home on a single family dwelling, in a single family zone on a single family lot. So, in order for them to be able to do this, we believe that a specific use permit would be appropriate, and then the dwelling on top of the garage would be legal under those circumstances. And then at some point, if it does tie into the rest of the house, then it's all good anyway. So that's kind of a quick story. There was one gentleman that spoke at the P and Z who actually was in favor of the item because he had somebody on the P and Z, I think, had actually talked about maybe disrupting somebody else's visibility with that second story on top of that home. I think a gentleman named Mike Rankin actually spoke to the P and Z and expressed his belief that it would not detrimentally affect anybody's view of the downtown. P and Z also recommended issuance of the specific use permit to the council.
Randy, we don't have any, I know some cities have corridor regulations, like for the view of the Capitol or whatever. We don't have anything like that.
That's correct.
Jennifer, do we have any raised hands or call-ins?
No.
Mayor, we have no raised hands or call-ins.
Okay, do we have anyone present at the meeting that wishes to speak?
I have a question. Do we have any kind of Airbnb kind of ordinances here?
No, we
Okay.
don't.
Close the public hearing, 6:19. Any other questions or discussion from the council?
Okay, that's a question. Okay. You said the plan is to connect the two at some point in the future. Is there a time limit on that?
The way, as I interpreted the request, Mike Tincher was here and actually made the request. And I am of the opinion that was not going to be very long. I didn't take away that was going to be some huge length of time before that happened. It was just a matter of how long it took them to get it constructed. So I don't really know the answer to that, Mr. Mitchell, but I did not believe, I didn't take, like I said, I didn't take away that it was gonna be some incredibly long time.
Complete speculation, but I would guess they wanna connect those, cause then they're insured as a solo unit.
But this does not bind them to connect them, they just said that was their intention, is
That's-
that correct?
That would be correct. The specific use permit would allow that dwelling to be on top of that garage permanently.
So it's
And it-
gonna be used more like a additional living space instead of a rental property.
That's what they told us, yes, sir.
I think it is for, I spoke with Miss Terry, and I think it's for guests to come in and stay with them. You know, their son and daughter live out of town, and so if they come in, they'll have a place to stay. And she made it sound like they do want to move pretty quick as far as connecting it and everything. That being said, she didn't say how long. I mean, she said they wanted to get it done fairly soon.
I'll make a motion, we approve the specific use permit as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. All these agenda items look the same. We're on 6, right? Okay.
Item 7. All right.
Number
Oh, no,
six.
6, I'm sorry.
Item number 6, conduct a public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on a preliminary plat of a 1.78 acre tract of land out of the southeast quarter of the T and PRR County Survey, section number 23, block A, EOB abstract number 717, Palapenna County, Texas, being all of those certain tracts of land conveyed to each strain in volume 645, page 446, volume 663, page 4, volume 682, page 950, and volume 708, page 643. Deed records, Palapenna County, Texas, to lots 1, 2, and 3, block 1 of the strain addition to the city of Mineral Wells, Palapenna County, Texas. Any person wishing to speak via Zoom in regards to this public hearing must either use the raise the hand button of using the computer or by dialing *9 if calling in a portion of the meeting when the mayor opens the public hearing. We'll open this public hearing at 6:23.
Mayor and Council, this is, if you'll take a look at page 58 of your packet, that actually shows the preliminary plat. This one is a little bit unusual in that there's 3 lots being platted that are not adjacent to a public right of way. And basically that's because of the geometry of those lots. There's currently a home on lot 3, but not on what will be lots 1 and 2. You note on the east side of that property, there is a utility easement dedicated. In the upper left corner of that plat is a city lift station. And so there was some good discussion with the P&Z about how the houses would be oriented, and Mr. Turk, our building official, informed the P&Z that building setbacks could easily be complied with regard to the easement, because typically setbacks are from a property line, not an easement boundary. And so ultimately the discussion was supportive. There was a discussion about whether or not the city would maintain that easement. And we stated that we typically would not. There was no commitment to do that. The P&Z, there is by a separate instrument, by previous dedication, there is also a utility access easement across what will be lot 3 up on the north to the lift station that exists on the northwest corner of lot 3. And the P&Z specifically stated that they wanted that easement shown on the final plat before final plat approval would occur, which I think was a very good comment. But otherwise, the P&Z was supportive. There was some questions asked at the public hearing, nothing of any major consequence. E and Z recommended that preliminary plat be approved.
Jennifer, do we have any raised hands or callings?
No.
Mayor, we have no raised hands or callings.
Do we have anyone present that wishes to speak on this item? Okay, we'll close our public hearing at 6:25.
I have a question on lot 3. Is that a house or is that a business? I always thought that was a business back there,
That
like an old
is-
daycare or something.
It was.
Lot 3 was an old daycare.
Okay.
Yes, as I understand it. That's correct.
Is it?
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. So lot 1 and 2 are part of the right of way today. You know, that's gonna be a private road, basically.
Well, it's an access easement only. It's a utility easement that grants us access to that right of way. And then for the purposes of lots 3 and 2, it's an access easement for them. So it is private property. It's not a public dedication.
It's not maintained at all right now, is it? It's just grass, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's gravel when you
I think it's maybe semi-approved,
Gravel
but it's not
ride,
paved. The benefit of dedicating that as an access, private access pipeline, utility, and drainage easement for the plat is that it could not be blocked off. You know, that they could, each adjacent property owner would be responsible for maintenance of the easement. And it cannot be, access to the lots north of it could not be prohibited. We didn't really want a public dedication there because there's really not a lot of benefit to have this subdivider build a street there. And
Well, I
so
understand that,
that was kind of thought behind it.
So
You
did
two,
they decide these lots wouldn't be big enough to put houses on?
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you look at the dimensions there, the lots are, that south property line is 110 feet, the easement's 30 feet wide, so it still makes it 80 feet. And there was actually some discussion about whether or not the house would be oriented long ways to the north and south, or would face northeast 23rd. But ultimately, the setback requirements can easily be met even with that easement dedication.
And the property line is still easy.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
Which way did they say they were gonna face that?
Well, there was no builder there to address that. It was purely speculation in the conversation. I couldn't tell you, but I would be.
Well, to me, I mean, it doesn't matter if they'll fit, to me, I mean, they can build it, I guess, whichever way, I was just curious.
They built a shotgun house or
Yeah.
a big long one.
in that area, zone, is that 9?
I'll make a motion, if we're ready to do that, to approve this request with the same stipulation that the planning and zoning committee made about the right of way.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 7, consider and take appropriate action on a request for a 20-foot encroachment into the east side of an 80-foot right-of-way located on Northwest First Avenue between Northwest 22nd Street and Northwest 23rd Street for the purpose of constructing covered parking over an existing parking lot located at 2315 to 2329 North Oak Avenue, being Block 69 of the SMB in addition to the City of Mineral Wells, Calapanet County, Texas, and authorize city manager to execute.
Mayor, this, believe it or not, this didn't go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, so they've been busy, but y'all are gonna be busier. This was a request that, if you look at, I think page 67, it kind of shows the parcel map in your packet between Northwest 23rd Street and Northwest 2nd Street, just along Northwest First Avenue. There is some multifamily apartment type building there right now. And if you look at page 68, that aerial photograph, you can see that where that denotes an 80-foot right of way, which is considerably wider than the paved portion of that street is today. The owner believed that they could build a carport there because I think, thought that they had more property than they did, started building a carport. It came to their attention, I think through our staff, that they were building that carport within the right of way. And so the request was made at that point, or the question, I guess, asked at that point, well, what can we do? Can we still do this? And so Mr. Turk had communicated to them that the only way that they could do that would be if the city council agreed to grant them an encroachment. And so City Attorney Eileen Heyman helped us to develop that encroachment agreement, and you have a copy of it in front of you, laid down, hard copy. It's not in your packet. So that's been developed, and there is, this is solely a decision of the city council. There's no recommendation from the P&Z or anybody else. It's just a kind of a policy decision. If you want to do that, you can see the drawing, the aerial photograph, page 68, kind of shows you where that will be in relation to the paved portion of Northwest First Avenue once it's built. Staff doesn't have any real objections to it, but that's certainly a council decision. I really wouldn't anticipate that all 80 feet of that right of way would be needed by the city at any point for the street corridor. But it's certainly these types of requests you should consider, I think, carefully and individually, and that's why we have it before you.
And I pass by there quite a bit. It's pretty close to my house, and I saw them constructing that, and I would have never known that was part of our street. I mean, looking at it, if I owned that property, I probably would have assumed that was my property too. And I mean, it looks like, there's, well, it looks like their property sticks out further than what the cover that they're trying to build does. I don't know. I would say I don't have an issue with it, but I don't know if that's opening the door to something or not.
That's me. I'm also familiar with the area. The map that we have printed in front of us that we're looking at confirms that it's not a through street. It only goes a couple more blocks and then it stops. I can't imagine that ever needing to be a 4-lane thoroughfare through there, so. With the understanding of kind of where I think you were headed with that, Brian, in that, are we setting a precedent? I don't think we would be in this case.
It's kind of an odd set of circumstances. If you look at that aerial photograph, the street, the paved portion of the street itself is clearly not the center of the right of way, which would certainly lend to confusion. So I think it's an honest mistake, and I personally agree with the comments that have been made up. Staff, we don't have any objection to it whatsoever. I don't think you set any kind of a precedent. I think every single one of these things is just like any other ordinance that this body will ever consider, which needs to be considered on its own merit at the time that it's presented, and I don't think it sets any kind of precedent. I'd be concerned with that.
I will add the construction looks really good too. I think they're doing a good job. It'll help the people that live in those apartments, give them some good cover.
Yeah, just to add on, I'm pretty sure that road only extends 2 blocks, and the rest of it's unimproved. And then once you go beyond the canyon there, the right of way is not 8 foot wide.
That's
according to the plan. Yeah, it narrows down to 50. So yeah, so it's just a stretch of 4 blocks, which 2 of them are unimproved. So.
Any other questions, concerns, or discussion from the council? Will you entertain a motion?
I make a motion to approve the encroachment agreement as presented.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 8, consider and take appropriate action on pay application number 3 to XL4 Construction LLC and the amount of $161,379 for work performed on the 2020 Utility Improvements Project, a portion of the Series 2018 GEO Bond Program.
Mayor, this is really more housekeeping than anything else, but I've told you guys I want to put these pay apps on these bond accomplishments on the specific action agenda items. So you can see there from the progress of the work that things have changed since last month, understanding that this is the pay app for May, and things have changed probably since then. So. Staff remains satisfied with the work, and the engineer is satisfied with the work, and we certainly recommend payment as presented.
I'm sure everyone living in those areas right now is happy to see the progress and know that it's moving along.
I think they're not all happy about the roads. You know,
Probably
yeah.
not right now.
Construction doesn't always make people happy, but when it's all done.
They're probably happy they're at least on the other.
Oh, so.
Any questions or discussions from the council?
I move we approve the pay application as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 9, consider and take appropriate action on status of Southwest 10th Street and Southwest 11th Street project, or paving project, the TDA CDBG project number 7219280.
Mayor, I'm gonna pass out a little visual aid if you guys wouldn't mind handing those. Oh, I need one more this direction, I think, yeah. We got you enough there? This is a lot easier to look at than it would be for me to try to describe it. This is with regard to our CDBG paving grant that was received now a good while ago, about a year, seemed like a year and some change ago, a year and a half ago, for Southwest 10th and Southwest 11th paving. And if you recall, that project has been a challenge from the beginning, trying to get the scope of work within the dollars that had been originally believed would be received with the grant. It's a $500,000 project, $100,000 match. After we've opened bids, now we have solid numbers now, and I think that you guys, those maybe except for maybe the two new council, and will remember that we've had conversations about this project. Even back when we solicited for bids, we had conversations about this project. What you have before you is a sketch that started with a drawing that Parker Smith and Cooper put together, and then it's a bunch of my markings on there because I was probably sometimes I need a visual aid. So what we have is we've got $473,000 for construction on the project. We intend to award what you see there that I've noted as award, where I say award paving in the note that's $401,711. That we intend to award that as part of the base bid. And then when you look below that, there's another $159,937.91 that is for the water line replacement that we intend to award. Now, it's important to note that believing that I would have full confidence and support of the city council when we have run up against a timeline. This project needs to be complete by the end of this calendar year. And so we have, myself and Sanford Leahy and folks at GrantWorks have worked really, really hard to try to get this where we could get it done. Currently, the project is still under an approval process from TDA because of the fact that it isn't necessarily what the original application was. But we believe that the recipients and the beneficiaries of the grant, that the low mod income numbers will be approved. There's a modification that's been submitted to TDA that we still haven't heard back from. As soon as we hear back from them, we need to award this bid. I mean, like, immediately if we can. I mean, obviously, probably won't call a special meeting because I don't think a couple of weeks matter. But as soon as we hear back from TDA on whether or not they approve that mod, and we believe that they will, then we need to award this project because we only have, now we got less than 6 months to build it. And so what you're seeing in front of you is, you can do the math yourself. 401,000 and 159,000 is more than 473,000. I committed to, through GrantWorks to TDA, that the city would absorb an additional $88,648 that you see down there at the bottom, so that we could get as much of this project done as we could, and with our intent being that we didn't want to pave a street that we didn't replace the water line under. Okay, that's a bad practice, as you all know. So to award what we want to award as base, I have already committed, and this council could actually uncommit me, but I hope that you won't, and I didn't believe that you would. But in the essence of time, and to move this as quickly forward as we could with that mod that had to be submitted, I said, yes, I believe the city council will approve that extra $88,000 that you see that I've written down on the bottom of that sketch. That gets the water fully replaced from Southwest 4th Avenue to Southwest 9th Avenue, and the paving completely reconstructed from Southwest 4th Avenue to Southwest 10th Avenue. Okay. I guess I'll stop there and ask for, well, no, I'm gonna go on, because I guess I'll go on. What this does, if we award that base bid, you'll see that toward the left-hand side between 10th, 11th, and 12th Avenues are Alt D and Alt E paving. And then when you look down below on the bottom side of the map, you'll see Alt C water and Alt D water. Those alternates, Alt D and E paving and Alt C and D water, are not fundable within what we've already committed, and including an additional $88,648 that I committed, that I said, yes, I believe the council will support that, so that we can get as much of this done as we can. It was important that we have as many beneficiaries as we could on the project. That's what those grant projects are for. So that being said, the issue at hand for you tonight, and you don't have to make a decision tonight, I just kind of need a good feel for how you would like to proceed, is whether or not really to pave Alt D and Alt E, which is Southwest 10th Avenue to Southwest 11th Avenue and Southwest 11th Avenue to Southwest 12th Avenue. Those two blocks are not in any better shape, in my opinion, than any of the other projects that we recommend awarding here. And if you've been down there lately, you notice that at Southwest 12th Avenue going west, the condition of the pavement improves dramatically once you reach that curve. And so I would hate for us to leave a 2-block gap in what's going to be a really, really nice project down there in a part of town that needs it, and on a street that is significant traffic count and highly used. And I would like the council, I want some discussion and feedback tonight from the council with regard to whether or not you would consider spending additional dollars to the tune of $61,000 for Alt D and $76,273 for Alt E paving. And then we will do Alt C and D water line with our own crews. We'll do those in-house so that this project can fulfill what it was originally intended and hoped, I think, to do, which is complete reconstruction of all the paving from Southwest Fourth to Southwest 12, and the utilities underneath. Now, what that ultimately means is that we're looking at somewhere shy of $250,000 additional money to do that, okay? And I'm not going to sit here right now and tell you that I know exactly where I'll pull that money if you tell me, yes, we want to do this. But with any affirmation and support indicated from the council, I'll be prepared to tell you that whenever we get ready to award this bid, if indeed this is the desire of the council to move in that direction. If not, that's fine. It's totally, it's your call. And like I say, I did commit that we were gonna increase the contract amount by 88,000 because it really would have been botched up at that point, in my opinion, if we don't do that. But short of that, beyond that commitment for the 88,000, that is just purely a council decision, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. I kind of want to know what direction y'all think that you might want to try to go.
Well, that is over in my ward, and I've fought pretty hard on this project for a long time. All of the revisions, all of the base bids, the alternate bids, to try to get as much done over there as we can. I guess the point I really want to try to get on, you mentioned, it makes no sense at all to me. If we're gonna try to have a nice thoroughfare, that we leave 2 blocks looking like a word I won't say. But that's just ridiculous. I know we have already committed our match of 100,000 and now an additional 80. We're not rich, but we've got enough money we can do this project, and we owe it to our citizens to, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. We've been sitting up here for 2 or 3 years saying we're changing the culture here. And this is the opportunity for us to show that we're committed, that if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it with excellence. And leaving a 2-block gap is not excellent.
I agree with Dole,
So for me,
but at the same time, I need to know where we're gonna pay for that, or, where the money comes from to pay for it. But I agree with Dole that, we need to make that right. And also, I don't want to say no to doing any streets that come around the city if we have the ability to do it.
So Randy, we've kicked around for several years the quote unquote amount to pave a city block, and so these are some interesting and higher figures than have been discussed. The 76,000 for 1 block and then 61 for another. Could you just address that? Is that our new reality if we're going to outsource paving?
Well, it is on this job. If you look, if I would direct you to the other page that I included, the little spreadsheet there. If you look at the paving numbers, that's about, there's 60, 68, 38, 66, and $63,000 a block. So yeah, I really don't think that $50,000 a block is a realistic number anymore. I mean, it might have been at one time, but it certainly wasn't the day that these bids are open.
And it is, assume everything works out, it's logistically feasible to get it done by the end of the year.
We still believe it is. Sanford's sitting back there nodding his head. We know that this is going to be tight now. It's going to be, it's going to be, it's going to be go and go hard. But yeah, there's, this is it's a good sized project, but it's not a particularly complicated project. And yeah, I think if we can hear back from the state quickly, then I think we can still get it awarded and get it done by the end of the year.
Right, like Will said, I don't see any reason, you know how when you go from like one county to another, sometimes like the streets get really bumpy, like there's no reason for us to do that like within our own town on like one stretch of straight street, So I think we need to do it. It's not any cheaper, so.
Is any of that curb and gutter too, or just paving?
It's all curb and gutter, isn't it?
Okay. Cause that, part of that street doesn't have curb and gutter, does it, once you get down?
No.
I think that's about 7th or 8th Avenue, it's not. not
So
good.
this will add significant, so that may be part of why it's more expensive lately.
Good point.
But we've talked about this for a while, and I know it's been difficult to get it started. But I think it would be tragic to get to the end of it and it look as if it were not completed properly. I don't wanna deal with that. I don't think anybody here does. And it's another $225,000, but I believe we can make that happen to do this properly.
Could put sidewalks in too, that's. what
Just run them over there.
Well, that's really what I need to know. I think I very strongly sense a consensus from the council that we don't want to leave a gap. And I will, at the time that we're ready to award that bid, I will tell you how we can pay for it. And that night, it's still gonna be your choice whether or not you want to do that. But I certainly think, I've heard what I need to hear unless somebody really disagrees. And we'll move in that direction. We'll be talking about this at least one more time to award that bid, so. I wish I could tell you that was gonna be at the next council meeting, but I don't know, that's out of our hands at this point, so that's what I need to know. Thank you.
Item number 10, consider and take appropriate action on approval of a master services agreement with Park Hill Strickle Rollins for professional services.
Mayor, I asked Sanford Leahy if he could be here tonight, just in case you guys had questions for him as our city engineer. It is one of the things that he and I have talked about now, actually for several months. It really started with our bond projects, and when I was came to the understanding that we hadn't even authorized the design of some of those bond projects up to this point, that I thought should have probably been going from a design perspective. And we got to talking, and it became clear to me that we don't have what I would call we don't really have an engineering contract. We have specific contracts with our engineer to do specific things, but we don't have a contract with our engineer. And I can tell you from an operational perspective, from the staff's perspective, and I'm not going to speak for the engineer, but I've been in that business too. And it is, it's frankly just odd to me that we don't have an agreement with our engineer that we can pick up the phone and feel comfortable taking as much of his time as we may need for something. As you all know, we have a lot of things going on, and we have a lot of things that fall apart some days, and there's just a lot of interaction with the city engineer that I feel like could be simpler and better compensate our engineer for the time that we ask him to spend. I can tell you that I've spent hours recently picketing Mr. Leahy's brain and asking him about another little project that I've been working on, and he has no way to get paid for that. That's not right, and that's not fair. I absolutely agree with specific tasks whenever that we have a big one, but on a routine basis, a phone call or an hour or two of the engineer's time that he doesn't even get paid for is really very unfair, and in my opinion, really unproductive. So I asked for this agreement. I asked for this master services agreement, and it's been provided to me. I think that the one thing that I did I get the rate schedule? I did, okay. Yeah, that to me, we do this with attorneys, and we do this with all kinds of other professionals. We pay them for the work that they do instead of Mr. Leahy specifically has been a a very loyal engineer for the city of Mineral Wells, and it actually kind of saddens me to think of the hours over the years that he's maybe given us for nothing. That shouldn't be. And so I would like for the council to consider approving and asking them, authorizing the mayor to execute this agreement with the engineer that we have chosen to use and has worked for us for many, many years. I think it's in both of our best interests. And I certainly welcome the discussion or questions.
Well, you and I talked about this, so I knew it was coming, and I do have just a couple of simple questions, that they basically, pertain to the rate schedule. Because I'm not familiar at all, I wanna kind of pick your brain, and I'll use a couple of local examples that are going on, so, that you're involved in. But like our utilities and streets program, what level, you have 7 different levels of service, and the amount that your company charges for those, varies pretty greatly. Can you just kind of give me a ballpark of what level, utilities and streets work falls into that you're?
It would be the level, probably level 3 civil engineer.
Okay, that's a level 3. We also have you working on like a chemical ammonia, changing the ammonia situation out at our waste, out at the water treatment plant.
The treatment engineer has had less experience than me, so it'd be about the same rate. He wouldn't be any higher than that. I mean, I'm not gonna charge you principal rates or anything like that.
Well, yeah,
I've
but,
always been as fair as I can be with.
well, I know you have been, and like I say, I'm just asking kind of a little bit out of ignorance, but a little bit out of, really curious, how these different 7 levels of rate structure, how you guys determine what that is, whether it's by, I know would be different levels of complexity, whether we're talking about chemicals or we're talking about the grade of a street, things like that, but also just the size or the magnitude of the job.
The whole time, up until a couple of years ago, I wasn't part of Park Hill. This is a lot bigger company than I've ever been associated with.
Mhm.
I've never had this kind of structure to deal with before, so this is their rate schedule.
Mhm.
It's not what I'm gonna be comfortable charging you for. You're still gonna get the same service you got out of me from the last 30 years, for the next couple of years. So, all I can say is you're gonna get the experience and the technical ability of a big firm, but you're still gonna get the small, you're still gonna get me.
All right, well, good, thank you. That's all I had. I just was curious how your firm determines these different schedules so that we would have some kind of idea, hey, we're gonna work on this project and we better anticipate it being a level 6
Honestly,
project and those.
Honestly, I've never had an hourly rate agreement. I've always had a lump sum. So we quote a job and we do it for that. And if we did it for less than that, we made money. If we didn't, we lost money. But we always just stuck to that lump sum agreement, did the job for what it was for. So
Okay.
this is a little new for me too. So the first couple times we invoice on it, there may be some back and forth, and then we can make some adjustments.
All right, well, thank you, Sam.
And then just for clarification, Sanford, let's say that we will authorize you to begin the design of the bond paving work. Then that would be
Totally separate.
an agreement that would be the lump sum type
Correct.
agreement. In other words, these hourly rates are gonna be for special, specific, what I'm gonna call
Task.
small consulting things. You know, there's a little bit of a consulting engineer isn't one that's just always doing design and construction for you. That's one that you can pick up the phone and consult with. And
Like the
that's really
park.
what these hourly
He's been
rates are
looking at the
typically
park
based on.
stuff and things like that.
Correct. Yeah, you'll see more specific task orders as Mineral Wells moves ahead. Because I do think that under certain circumstances, that's the way to deal with that. But my objective, my motive was more for undefined day-to-day consulting engineering service. And then you guys, as now a component of Park Hill or an employee of Park Hill, that opens up a broad expanse of all kinds of other professional engineers and architects and structural guys. And
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a multitude of resources available through Park Hill. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this to be true, that can be tapped into at any time as well. And having a contract with them can actually work to our advantage in other ways with regard to the services of, like say, an architect or an electrical engineer, the kind of things that might be rare needs that we will have access to through the contract with Park Hill Smith & Cooper. So or Park Hill, I guess they call them now. So that's my 2 cents.
I have no objections.
Wish I had more questions while they're free, but I can't.
We appreciate everything that you've done for the city over the years and always going above and beyond. I move we approve the master services agreement with Park Hill Strickle Rollins for professional services as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 11, consider and take appropriate action on interlocal agreement with Palapenny County Tax Assessor Collector.
Mayor, this is an annual item that we certainly would recommend approval for. It's the interlocal agreement that we have, obviously, with the Palo Pinto County Tax Assessor Collector to take care of that little bit of work for us. If you don't want to do this, then good luck. We certainly obviously have no issues or concerns in the county. We recommend approval of the interlocal agreement.
Discussion, questions from the council? Will entertain a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the interlocal agreement with Palapenny County Tax Assessor Collector.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0.
Excuse me, Brian, was that you?
Yeah.
Thank
All right, item number 12, future agenda items or requests by council members to be on next agenda. We're gonna move forward. The Mineral Wells City Council will begin its executive session on this 15th day of June, 2021 at 7:03 p.m. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, the City Council will recess into executive session, closed meeting to discuss the following. A, 551.071, consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter regarding 1, wholesale water contracts, and 2, city council meeting procedures. B, 551.074, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee regarding 1, city manager, and 2, appointments to boards and commissions, Board of Adjustment, Woodland Park Cemetery Board of Trustees. C, 551.087, to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information the city has received from a business prospect that the city seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the city, and with which the city is conducting economic development negotiations, and or to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to the business prospect regarding 1, Project Blue.
you. We just had a